everybody. I hope your brain is turned on because we got some thinking to do. Okay, first off, on the stream on Classroom, you'll notice that there's a quizzes invitation. You use quizzes in math, at least most of you, so you should be really familiar with that. But this is specifically to my quizzes, so go ahead and accept that. Knock that out. And then in classwork, you'll notice that, oh, come down. There's a couple things to do. There's a quick video here about the speed of cheetahs. Okay, about 3 minutes long. Watch that real fast just to kind of get your brain in the right zone. And I want you to realize that all of this stuff is interconnected. It's not just, runners and planes and trains. This affects the natural world too, and how all the different things we learn in science are interconnected. Okay, so watch that first. We will come back to the speed practice problem stuff in just a second. Okay, remember that you can go in the topics to my notebook, right? So I just have the tab open because it's faster. And go ahead and push pause and copy, open this up and copy down these notes so that when I'm talking about it, you can just focus on understanding. Okay, so we set up a page for our notes and we set up a page for our practice. I'll show it to you in just a second, but if you have access to a working printer, I'm going to recommend that you print off the page with the problems, and then you can always just attach it here after we check it. Okay, but like I said, go ahead, pause, and record these notes in your science notebook. All right, and you're back. Hopefully you did pause. All right, so with our speed notes, okay, you have done speed calculations before, but you did them in a math class when you were working on rates. All right, so sometimes it's just going to be phrased differently. But if you need like a word definition of speed, it's the distance traveled in a given minute of time. So let's say you're going to go visit grandma and she lives 300 miles away and it takes you 2.5 hours to get there. So how far you traveled divided by the time it took is what your speed is. But that's what's known as average speed, because at every single moment along the way, you weren't necessarily going, let's just say 70 miles per hour. Maybe there was traffic and you had to stop, or maybe you had to pull over at Buc-ee's because everybody had to go potty and get some beaver nuggets. Who knows? Okay. So that would be instantaneous speed. Think about like the cop getting you with the radar gun. That is your speed at that moment, at that instant. So when you see in some problems if it ever says average speed, don't freak out. It doesn't mean you need to do something special. That's just saying it's the total distance over the total time. Okay, and I had all kinds of like bloopers and stuff on my notes today, so just bear with me. The formula is speed equals distance divided by time. Okay, so in the past you may have seen it written like this. There is nothing mathematically wrong about that. However, it does not set you up to be successful doing like word problems, nor will it set you up to be successful as you move to higher levels of physics. Okay, and I'm intentionally giving you easy numbers that you could probably do the math in your head so that you can focus on the formula. Okay, remember, I'm not your elementary math teacher. Miss Melanie teaches you science, and we put math to work. Okay, just to give you a little bit of an idea. Okay, in high school physics, see all these formulas? Yeah, can't do that in your head. Nope. Now, lucky for you, have these fancy calculators, but the thing about calculators is if you punch the numbers in wrong, your answer's wrong. So don't use that as a crutch. Okay, so this is mathematically okay. But science, we're going to write it like this because that will help set me up to get the correct unit. Because if I don't have a unit or the unit is wrong, your answer's wrong. Go say, hey, I'm going to give you 50. And you're like, sweet, $50? I'm going shopping. I'm like, oh, 50 cents. And then you're like crushed and defeated. The units matter. Okay, remember, no naked numbers. Right, but nobody wants to write all this out, right? Let's say that wastes my pretty pens, and I like my pretty pens. So we shorten it to the abbreviations, and little d is distance, little t is time. Okay, so let's just say I walk 10 meters in 2 seconds, which is decently fast. All right, so 10 meters divided by 2 seconds. 10 divided by 2 is not hard math. I repeat, it's just to make you focus on the formula. So I know it's 5, but 5 by itself is not the answer. It's 5 meters per second. I didn't have to go back and reread a word problem or get confused in what was going on. All I had to do was look right here at how I set up the problem. Okay? Some people have problems with long division, right? So I would love to be able to fix your math weaknesses like instantaneously, but I can't right now. I will gladly help you with them. But if you know that you don't know your math facts, like I said, 7 times 8, and put you on the spot, if you can tell me the answer, those are things you need to be working on the side. Okay, but one thing I can help you with is how to take something that's written in fraction form and turn it into long division. All right, so behold my artwork. Isn't it lovely? So you got a cowboy and a horse, which is like the numerator and the denominator. All right, the cowboy's on top, and there's my horse. He needs to eat some more. He's too skinny. All right, and I labeled it in case you couldn't tell what it was, but check out his cowboy hat. Okay, so the long division sign is going to be our house, not the barn, the house. And who goes inside the house? The cowboy. Who stays outside? The horse. You know, you've seen a Western like TV show or movie, and they always like tie their horse up outside like the saloon. It's like parking the car at Target. It's the same thing. Okay, but now you know which one goes where. Okay, it's part of that, yay for calculators, but if I plug it in wrong, I'm going to get the wrong answer. This was another rant of mine, right? You'll start to see like miles per hour like this, MPH, in different things that I did not type. That's usually from someone who either doesn't know math and or is in the English customary system instead of metrics. Like this makes me twitchy, right? Because the M isn't even miles. MI is hours. Like this right here, this is the correct way to write it. All right. So if this is written, I didn't do it. Like on your breakout rooms, it super bothered me, but I couldn't edit it. Okay. And then someone was asking me about units. They thought this was millimeters, like milli. But remember, meters, liters, grams, those are the base units for distance, volume, and mass. Okay, so we were just showing that the first part there is the modifier, like the milli part. Right, so that's side tangent. That isn't what our content's on. Now behold another trick that I didn't know until I was grown. And I was sad I didn't have it during school. Behold the magic triangle. Okay, anything that has 3 variables, you can fit in this magic triangle and it will work for you. Like in 8th grade, you will do force equals mass times acceleration. It will still fit into here. Okay, so what it is, notice how this horizontal line is like the fraction bar. That means division. The one up and down, the vertical, is going to be multiplication. All right, and how I got it into this, look at the formula. See how it's d over t? D over t. And that means the s has to go here. Okay, and you'll see side by side, you'll see we're doing it for velocity as well, because remember, this is still the same mathematical stuff. It's just velocity is with direction. Okay, like north, south, up, down, right, left. Okay, so mathematically it's the same. So speed, we already knew this formula. But let's say the problem asks me for time. All right, so you cover up what you're looking for. If I'm looking for time, it's distance divided by speed. Isn't that handy? And there's my formula. Or if I'm looking for distance, distance is speed multiplied by time. Okay, and it doesn't matter how you write it. Like some people like to put the X, some people like to put the dot. It's all the same to me. Okay, but that's why I can use the magic triangle. You will, at one point in math class, work on the skills that you need to rearrange a formula or rearrange an algebraic expression. But most of us in 6th grade aren't there yet. But it doesn't mean you can't do this. We'll use the magic triangle to help us until your math skills level up a little bit. Right? This is also up level, but I think that you can handle it. Okay, speed is what's known as a scalar quantity. Notice they both start with S. It means it's just a number. It's a number scale. Whoop-de-whoop. All right, if you say I'm going 70 miles per hour, where are you going? That's the important part. That's why we use velocity if we can, because velocity is better. So 70 miles per hour north is much more informative than just 70 miles per hour. So that's speed with direction. So vectors, which is what one of your ed puzzles was about, okay, tells us where it's going. So notice how they both start with V. And see how I put little arrowheads on the V's to help me remember this has direction. So little things like this will help you out with your memory. Okay. The next page is where we did our speed practice. If you can print off the page, great. If not, don't be peeking at my answers yet. You need to work it out yourself. If you can print off, great. If not, work it in here just like I did. Okay, so you're going to do the practice problems, and then I put up the key and you'll check yourself. But there's a couple of steps you go through. All right, I don't want to hear, well, I can do the math in my head. I'm not your elementary math teacher. We are focusing on the formula. Okay, so you're always going to want to, number one, identify your variables. What are the things that are a part of this problem? Okay, then write your formula. Then plug your numbers into your formula, and then calculate it. Notice here, I crossed off those zeros. When you have zeros that line up at the end of a number, you can mark them off. Because mathematically, 400 divided by 20 is the exact same as 40 divided by 2. And that's much easier to do in your head. Okay, so I ended up with 20. And I didn't have to wonder what my unit was. I didn't have to reread the question. My unit is right here. It's meters per second. And then you box it so it's easy to find. If you're wondering where I got these numbers from, I'm going to go back to the Google Classroom in just a second. It's posted there. These are the speed practice problems. Okay, so you'll work them out either in your science notebook or on the sheet of paper. Right, and once you're done, you'll compare it with my key. Now, let's say the time one. Okay, so that you aren't just doing all mine. You need to work on it for yourself. Okay, number 4 is a time problem. See, I still identify my variables, but this time I'm looking for time. In this formula, I use my magic triangle, or I turn back a page in my notes, and there it is. But this time with the units, this is a little bit different from you, okay? Like I said, when you level up in your math skills, this will make more sense. But kind of think of this like mixed fractions, all right? If stuff on top and bottom matches. So see the m on the top and m on the bottom, they cancel each other out, leaving me with seconds, which is what makes sense because I'm solving for time. Okay, so like I said, mathematically, it will all make sense one day. For now, just trust me, Smithly. Okay, that those two cancel each other out. But it's the same exact process. It's just I'm looking for a different variable this time. Okay, now as far as, there we go, your things, here's the practice problems. Like I said, if you have a printer, great. Feel free to print it off and answer them on here. It's the exact same stuff that I had here in my science notebook. Okay, we just took a paper we had and put it into Google. So you've got some problems on speed, and then we tell you when you start solving for time. So there's a couple on time and a couple solving for distance. Okay, so you just utilize that formula. We even put it here. We put the magic triangle just so you can get more comfortable with it. So work out those problems. And then you've got the key. Sorry, it's kind of jumbled in order. The answers are here. You're not just looking that the answer is right. You're looking that you did all the steps and you ended up the correct number with the correct unit. Okay, wrong number, the question is wrong. Wrong unit, the question is wrong. No unit, the question is wrong. You have to be specific in science. There's no room for like, oh, you know what I'm talking about. Like you have to be spot on. Once you're done, you can go ahead and look at this motion graphs and speed knowledge check. Notice it's not due until Monday night. Monday's a little wacky because we're doing phase 3, Monday and Tuesday, right? The first day of A day and B day in phase 3. So it'll be a little bit asynchronous for science. Go ahead and log on Zoom. I'll get on Zoom as soon as I can, but I'm going to be helping 6th graders get to classes they've never been to before and kind of be in tech support within the room. Right, so I'll have a to-do list up for you on Monday in Google Classroom. Just follow that to-do list. Go ahead and log into Zoom, and I will hop on as soon as I can. And if you have questions about the practice, like you don't understand where you went wrong, or you have questions about the knowledge check, I will happily help you then. Not to mention, we also have tutoring. Miss Henny and I are available every day except for Wednesdays. Right, so you can look for the tutoring link inside. Right, if you have questions, reach out, come to tutoring. Send me an email, send me a Google Classroom message. You got this.